Let's go ahead and take some time to talk about the layout of a Mac keyboard. On the screen, if you're accessing it visually right now, I have an image that I took of my own Mac books. I have a MacBook Air of the keyboard. So just like with JAWS, you can use caps lock as your modifier key, or you can use the control and option keys together as your modifier key. So that's a little different than what you might do if you were using JAWS or NVDA. But I wanted to explain those two keys really fast before we start. Let's talk about the layout now. On the bottom row of the keyboard, if you're using a Mac keyboard, first you have your function key. You may use your function key when you're using the keys at the very top of the keyboard, those F1, F2, F3, F4, all the way to F12. Those are function keys, and sometimes you'll need to press the function modifier key in order to use the keys at the top to complete whatever action you want to complete. Next to function, you have control. Control is used in a lot of commands on the Mac OS and with many of the voiceover commands. I do want to talk about the little image if you're accessing any commands on when you're doing Google searches or Bing searches or whatever. It will abbreviate control with this little up arrow. It looks very similar to the caret for 6. So in math, that little caret up above the 6 key indicates an exponent. That same caret is used for the control key, which can be a little tricky because I think of that arrow pointing up as your shift key, but it's really the control key. So when I was first learning how to use a Mac, that was a little tricky for me. So you have function on the left, then control, then is your option key. On a Windows keyboard, option key and alt key complete the same task. So if you're using a Windows Bluetooth keyboard connected to your Mac, the option and alt key are interchangeable. Then you have your command key, which is the equivalent of the Windows key if you're using a Windows computer. The command key is how you complete the majority of your Mac OS keyboard commands. Next to that is your space bar. Command touches space on the left and the right side, and then the next key out going to the left or to the right is your option key. So if you can just remember that command touches space and then option is next, it will help you figure out the orientation for those keys. And then finally you have your arrow up, down, left, right. Now, if you're using a different keyboard than the one that comes with your laptop or with your desktop, the function and control keys could also be in different places. So you'll just need to, if you're working with a student, label those keys, teach that orientation so your student can know where they are. The shift keys are in the same spot for the Windows keyboard and Mac keyboard. It's next to Z and the / and question mark key. The shift key is a modifier key for Mac OS. And then again, above the shift key is your caps lock key in that standardized position. So that's just a basic layout for keyboards. It's important that we teach our students where those important keys are. And now I'm going to zoom in on this image and show you this sticker that I have on my Mac. One of the things that can make the learning curve a little easier if you're someone who's transitioning from using a Windows device to a Mac device is that most of the control commands from a Windows computer are going to be command commands on a Mac computer. So let's just look on the top left of this sticker, which by the way is from shortcutsticker.com, from Synerlogic Electronics. You can order it from Amazon. They have some on Etsy. You can make your own if you want. It's just a nice little quick cheat sheet. Anyway, so on a Windows device, you would Control A to select all. On a Mac, it is Command A to select all. On a Windows device, it's Control C to copy. Mac, Command C to copy. So that's the same for many of these things. Some that are different are like Command H to hide something, that's different. Command G to find next is different. Command M to minimize. You also have this Command option, this little image. I don't even know how to describe the option image. It looks like a line for a hill, maybe, like demonstrating going down a hill with another bar on top of that. That is your command image if you're looking at shortcuts visually. So command, option, M and H would be to minimize or hide all apps. Command Q is a really important keyboard command. It's how you close apps. Then let's see what else we have. Command W is another important one for closing tabs. Command plus and minus allows you to zoom, or Command 0 resets your zoom. You can use Command and the comma to open your app settings. Okay. So you also have your Command space to do a spotlight search. That is the equivalent of pressing your Windows key to search for something on your computer. You have Command Option D to show or hide your dock, so you can make that go away. You have your Command Control space to get to your symbols or your emojis if you want to insert your emojis. I like this command. My students loved being able to insert emojis on like emails and that sort of thing. Command Tab switches between apps instead of Alt Tab, so that one's a little different too. Command Shift Tab opens closed tabs. So I just want to talk here about the difference between the things that point up. So we talked about the caret being your control. This actual arrow, if you're accessing visually, pointing up is your shift, and that's like an outlined arrow is shift. And then the black line drawing arrow with a line pointing up is your arrow up. So just know the differences. That's pretty standard when you're looking at keyboard commands. And then you have the control key up arrow to get to mission control, which we've talked about in our Mac concepts video. You can also do Command Shift C to find out information about to look in your computer. Apps for A, H is home, F recent, I iCloud, and G is the go-to folder. Let's see. We have some startup commands I'm not really going to talk about since we don't usually problem solve those quite so much as a TBVI or IT people would be doing that. You can force quit an app with the Command Option Power button, or force the shutdown of your computer if it errors out with the Command Option Control Power button. And then at the very bottom of this particular sticker, it tells you what each of the symbols means as far as what the power button looks like, what the escape button looks like, Option, Control, Shift, and Command. So that's just a very basic introduction to the keyboard layout on the standardized Mac keyboards, and then some of those important Mac operating system shortcuts that are going to be vital for you to learn before you can really be independent with VoiceOver.